Greetings everyone. So, how to be successful in a war, especially if your opponent is similar to you or even stronger. The tactics and your troop placement can play a very vital role in this situation. So, in my example, I'm playing as Cherokee and I'm fighting the Spanish and their colonies to get as much land as possible. So, what's the current situation? Uh, we are the most advanced and biggest countries in the world with similar development, and I'm occupying part of North America, Central America, and all the Caribbean region. The islands, not the whole trade region of mainland South America. So, and Spain controls parts of North America. They used to have uh, New Spain in southern parts around here as well, but I already took some parts of it. And then they have the New Granada territory, some in Spanish Peru territory, and also they have very strong presence in Europe. So they have a huge army, huge force limits, and everything. And if you look at their armies, they are right next to us over here. So, and that's just Spain alone. So you have to also count for the colonial nations and some of the allies as well, because they are also allied with Portugal, which is also quite strong. They have strong presence in Northern Africa. They have strong presence in southern America as well as Alaska. But so they can easily throw significant numbers of troops at you from these enemies. uh, Moldova is not going to participate even if they join the war, same as Venice. But if they join, it will be very limited. Same as for Savoy, they won't be participating much. But even then, the numbers are big, and uh, it's hard to fight on all fronts. In one of my, I have already fought 2 or 3 wars with them, and in my first attempt I barely made a peace deal, which I slightly won just by taking maybe 2 or 3 provinces, because otherwise I would be losing, because they also had uh, province as their which they had a union with, which is now integrated, which was covered like half of France, and also they had alliance with Austria, which also brought at least 40, 50, or even more thousand troops, and I lost maybe a third of North America. But since my war goals was to capture a capital that's over here in the colonial nation, I was able to still get to peace out with some small benefits for me. So in that war I had limited force limits and units, but since then I have quite a lot increased my income, and as well as my army, which is now at 270. uh, So I fought one very successful war with them, and now my peace treaty is just ended, so I'm able to attack once again. So what I'm focusing on now is that you have to tactically think over where to place your troops and at what amounts, so you can be able to contain any enemies. Uh, it's important to know how the AI works. So if you, for example, have a 30 stack over here, uh, and Spanish Canada has, let's say, no more than 20 units, they won't come into my territory because they are afraid of this force. So as long as I'm here, then they won't attack me. Uh, and if I go into their territory, they will retreat to California. And so for example, if I must move this unit somewhere else, they are going to come out here and start to occupy these provinces. So it's important to cover all the areas. So for example, I have 2 stacks over here in case any troops decide to land from ships over here. In my not so good example, that's actually what happened. I didn't have any units in the northern areas, and it started with like small 10,000 of Austrians, and but I couldn't spare any units to come fight them, so they came once more. So then some of the Spanish and some of the province units came, and in the end, in this area there was at least 100,000 or more units, which I wasn't able to fight that many. Uh, so I have some stationed over here when I need them. I have at least 60,000 over here because Granada themselves have at least 40 to 50,000 units, and I need to be able to counter them, as well as you can get Portuguese enemies from here, as well as the Spanish quite often land in this area and can be fought over here. Uh, Also, I try to keep a stack in the Caribbean area because it may depend on game from game, but I noticed that Spanish don't usually transport more than 10, maybe 11 units by ships. So if I have a decent 20 stack in the Caribbeans, which I could move from island to island, I could easily counter any naval invasions in this area as well, and destroying those units can significantly increase my war score and lower their morale. So, and also to counter any invasions from these nations, I also try to station one unit here, one here, and then there's like 2 over here, which are the main big stacks are moving forward, capturing forts, and like 1 and 2 stacks are capturing all the provinces left behind. So this time I don't have a unit over here. It would generally be this one, but I'm about to go to war, and I want to try to maybe let's see if I could actually, with 60 against 21, if I could shatter them. That would be great. After this battle, I will be moving this unit outwards in here, so I'll be one unit taking the Canadian capital and one the Louisiana capital, and I'll deal with these provinces with small units. And afterwards, I'll be moving in over here. So actually, the wasteland works in my favor, because it means you have very narrow these parts, and also here as well you have only one and two, so you can easily move from here inside in this direction, as well as you could move from here inside here after taking this, and one and two units moving to take these capitals, and then moving upwards one here and here, and the other one is moving at the same time here and here. So you basically don't left any possible ways for them to go. So that's how I took it last time. I was able to take all the Spanish Canada, Louisiana, and New Spain, which was up until here somewhere, and eventually I also took all of the Alaska as well. So afterwards I took all that, I pushed more, I took an extra unit or two here and tried to push in here as well, took some of the provinces here, but decided to not go all in, but to peace out when I had around 40 war score, because even if I took most of Granada, it would the war score still wouldn't be that high, because of Spanish European provinces which they mostly controlled most of the Spain and France, as well as parts of Italy. So especially if you execute these kinds of tactics and you know how the AI works, you can easily fight an opponent which is bigger than you in raw numbers. It's just important to know where you have to place your units, and where to fight them, and in what amounts they will transport the units, and so on. So the only limitation is that you have to be able to fight them. If you are significantly weaker, then no tactics is going to save you over here. Of course, there are exceptions. For example, if you play in Europe in an early game and you want to fight the Ottomans as Byzantine, these mountains and good tactics can easily do that, but in the end it depends if you can actually win battles easily or not, because with the bigger opponents you have, the more armies and manpower they have, so that small defensive victory won't matter much. You have to be actually able to deal decisive blows, and especially if you can actually shatter some of their units. So every 20-30 unit you shatter is a huge bonus.